Happy Monday, folks. Welcome to Art of the City TV live streaming. I'm Ruth-Ann, and I am streaming from Solana Beach, California from my art gallery. And I hope you folks had a great weekend. We were very busy over the weekend, which was really, really nice. As you can see behind me, I have a lot of artwork. I think I mentioned last time that we had our warehouse. We went through our warehouse in the last 3 months and we pulled out some beautiful treasures that we are no longer carrying. And we thought, you know what, this is a really good time to bring that artwork into our gallery so folks like you could kind of look through it. We are putting it up on our website, so be patient. We're getting lots of phone calls of people saying, hey, we want to see what you have. And it just takes a little while for us to take those photos. So keep looking at the website, you'll see that. But I'm really pleased today to reconnect with a very good friend of mine who I carried his work at our gallery when we had it in Beverly Hills. I've always been a big fan of animals. I'm an animal lover, and this person has that equal passion, just a passion for creation, passion for animals of all different kinds. But specifically, when we had his work at our gallery in Beverly Hills, he did these absolutely incredible sharks like you've never seen before. And they were done in different patinas. Some of them were in stainless steel, just incredible. And then he's gone on to do quite a few different types of animals, and we're going to get him on the show here in a minute. But he's originally from Paris, and that's where he grew up. And so I think, you know, he has probably a different worldview as a kid growing up, being exposed to different things in a different country. And then he came here and lives in LA now. But we're going to hear about his story and see his artwork. So let me see if I can get Victor Douieb on the show here. Welcome, Victor. How are you?
I am great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, and I'm so pleased to have you here. I've been thinking about you quite a bit because I've been involved with artists that are doing paintings of animals, and then I thought about your incredible sculpture. So tell us a little bit about what's been going on with this COVID in your world and how that's affecting you as an artist.
Well, you know, as an artist, I'm already kind of staying home all the time,
Right.
so it didn't really make a big difference. But I had time to create more pieces and learn about what's going on. It didn't affect me that much, to be honest with
Okay.
you. I'm always kind of staying home, by the way, all the time, and I just it's for me it's the same. It's sad to see what's going on. It's very sad to see people dying.
Right.
But in my part, it's still sculpting, creating animal, raise awareness about what's going on. And, you know, as I'm looking at the news, even recently, we just find out about this beautiful gorilla has been poached
I know. I heard about that.
In Uganda. So there's not one day when we don't find out that one species disappearing, one animal has been poached. So it's sad, but
Yeah, it is. And I think that you've always been kind of on the cutting edge of raising awareness for these different species that, you know, are on the verge of extinction. But how did this all start? I know you're from France. I mean, we've spoken and I looked at your biography, but how did this whole evolution to creating these amazing sculptures begin?
well, I'm always been attracted to animal and maybe a little bit more than people. So I like since I was a kid, I would always go hang out with. You know, I was in love with horses. I was hang out with horses all the time. I like every wild animal, and everything started with a great dive experience in Baja California, where
Right.
I was having some incredible encounter with some hammerhead. And as I was finishing my week diving on a boat, I decided to buy a piece for to remind me this incredible encounter, something that I can look at it all the time, because that's what art is all about. It's
Right.
remind you a place, a person, a connection, So I was looking everywhere to find a piece, and I couldn't find it. So I decided, since I have a background of dental technician, maybe I can sculpt my own piece, and I'm gonna make exactly the way I want it. So I did it, and that's how I started. I sculpted one piece for myself, and lead to 80 pieces later, and I'm still
So great.
I'm only sculpting what I like.
Right.
So it's I'm not trying to sculpt with thinking about selling. I'm sculpting about, I'd love to have a piece of this animal in my house. So that's how I started. Or raise awareness, sad story that the gorilla, shark disappearing, uh, any place where I'm connected, or anything would touch me, like my dog. I sculpted my dog when she was dying from cancer. So anything where I'm connected emotionally, that's the subject I'm going to take. I'm going to sculpt.
Well, I think it's really it's amazing that at the level that you are as a sculptor, that this just started out of your own passion to want to have something for yourself to enjoy, and now it's now this is pretty much what you do full time, right?
Yes, yes, it is. It
I mean,
is.
that's something else. When you really think about that, that is truly a gift, because most people have to go to school for many, many years to get to the level that you're at. And it seems like it just kind of came naturally for you.
Well, that's what my father was, when he was alive, was telling me. You think you're going to be a sculptor and you're going to sell your work when people finally sell their work when they die, and you become famous when you die. And I'm like, I'm going to give it a shot, because it's not about the money. It's about making what I want, and making what I feel, and making and doing what makes me happy. And if I can save one gorilla, one shark, whatever I can do, I can sculpt and raise awareness and do my part. I'm still going to do it until my last day.
I think that's beautiful. I think that's really well said. Well, let's take a look at what you're working on now. I'm going to minimize my screen so we can see more of what you have there. And I know you have this amazing piece. So share with the viewers. We've got lots of people streaming now saying, "Hi, Victor." Let's have them
Well,
maybe take a look at what you've got there.
as I mentioned to you about this, Rafiki, it was his name of this gorilla, who was actually pretty famous in Uganda. Uh, it's been posh. I just actually still working on this piece that I'm going to show you right now. It's actually almost a life size of the gorilla head. So I don't know if you can see it.
Oh my God, it's incredible.
So this is
That is
my latest
beautiful.
piece. So I'm doing actually two versions of this one. One is stainless steel with no hair, nothing, just very shiny. Like, if so people saw my stainless steel, it's very high polish. And I'm doing this version who's more realistic, and it's going to be patina as close as I can get to the real gorilla. So
That
it's
is
and
beautiful.
unfortunately it's right there with what's going on. It's sad, because I'd rather skull just because I like the animal, not because they're being pushed and disappearing.
Right.
But maybe this piece can show beauty, and maybe we can save one gorilla, two gorilla. Maybe
Right.
people are going to realize that we don't want to show those species, and not be able to see them living in the habitat. So
Right.
appreciate the beauty and try to save them. And that's the same message for every species who disappearing.
I think that is your passion, and it comes through in your art. So when you are thinking about an animal that has really touched your life, and you think, okay, I'm going to now sculpt that, what's your process? Do you video, or how do you go about the execution of that?
Well, if I have a chance to go to a gorilla habitat, and unfortunately for some health reason I was not able to go there, I'd like to get as close as I can. That's what I do when I go in underwater. I want to feel the energy, to be able to give on my piece the energy that I felt when I was there underwater, or in the sanctuary, or anywhere they are alive, and share, or even just a person who's going to come to the gallery and look at it. I don't need to the I don't need to sell it to share it. Just come and look at it and appreciate it. Feel what I felt when I see this animal for the first time,
Right.
and it's a win situation for me. It's a win-win. If you left the gallery or my place, have more love and passion for this animal, and try to donate or raise awareness with me, that's great. I think I win. I don't have to sell it.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know, Victor, we didn't really talk so much about the sharks yet, but you actually went swimming with the real sharks.
Oh, that shark is my passion. I usually go 3 to 4 times a year on the water and spend time with shark. I'm not suicidal. Let's make everything clear. I love shark. I think it's way safer than what people feel, and I just feel comfortable in the water with them.
So when you go in there, are you inside of a cage or are you just swimming with them?
Usually, I'm not in a cage. I only been in a cage when I was with great white, but
Okay.
usually I swim, I dive free with them. I'm surrounded by professional. Um, no matter which animal I'm going to study or sculpt, like I was in a cage with some Bengal tiger when I was sculpting a tiger. I'm always surrounded by with professional who are going to tell me what to do. One,
Right.
not to make sure I'm safe and I'm not hurting myself or the animal, and I'm comfortable, and they allowed me to be here. An animal
Right.
is, the communication between animal and human is very clear. When they don't want you there, they will let you
Yeah,
know
they will.
very, very quickly.
Uh-huh.
So
That's true.
compared to human, who's sometimes a little tricky, animals are very clear. They want you or not. And if they don't want you, leave,
Right.
because that's where it gets dangerous when you stay.
Right. Have you ever had any close encounters, close calls with any of the animals, like the
Yeah,
shark?
yeah, I was underwater with 3 tiger shark. I lost the group. I was diving with people that they really respect my diving, and that I need to be alone sometime to take photography. So I kind of lost the group, and I was surrounded by 3 tiger shark who were
Oh boy.
starting to go around me and try to bump me a little bit, a few times, to see what I was all about. And I was running off. I was running low on air. I was not seeing the group. I was not seeing the boat, and that's where I start panicking a little bit.
Sure.
And as I was panicking, the shark was responding to my fear. It was interesting that the shark felt that I was not comfortable here. So as
Yes.
soon as I calmed down and realized that it's happening, it's just I'm going to find the group, I'm going to get back on the boat, it's all fine, the shark left. I was not interested anymore. So
Interesting.
that was kind of interesting how they respond very well to my heartbeat and to me kind of starting to panic a little bit.
Right.
Uh, but nothing happened, So I was
That's
also, it was interesting because I was also in a sanctuary, uh, sculpting, actually being in touch with the tiger, touching tiger to see if I was going to sculpt one. And the female really likes me a little bit too much and try to lock me try to lock me in the corner of the cage and keep me for herself. So
oh boy.
that's when the trainer told me to get out of the cage without turning my back and just walking back, staring at her slowly. And we did this the day after, and the same exact situation happened again. She was fine. She was letting me be on my knees and petting her and feeling the muscle, until at some point she just standing up and tried to, with her butt, try to put, corner me to keep me for herself. And the
She
guy
was in
then,
love, Victor.
well, some people said it's my French accent. Actually, that's what actually the trainer said. Do not talk to her. She likes French men. I'm like, okay, great. So I think it was, for me, it was more scary, the tiger, the Bengal tiger, than the shark. Maybe because I spend more time in the water with sharks, so I'm more comfortable. But just seeing this 500-pound tiger standing up,
Wow.
walking to me and trying to corner me, and I was like, this is not a good position. That's not a good date.
No,
This is
that's not
not
a
a good.
good date. But I'll tell you, when you're sharing these experiences, I'm sure as an artist, you're pulling all that energy. I mean, that's some pretty powerful energy of being around these animals that we admire and we love, but are powerful. And then you're going to take that and bring that into your sculpture. And I'm sure that it comes out in your sculpture.
Well, that's what people usually tell me. Your pieces are alive, and that's when I'm like, I did it. I made it. Because if they can feel it, I win. If they can feel, they can appreciate the beauty. And not everybody is allowed to go to a cage. Not everybody is allowed to go diving. Not everybody is lucky to do what I do. So if I can share my passion and the love that I have for animal just by looking at my work, I think
Right.
I think I win.
Absolutely. So you're working on the gorilla. What other pieces do you have in your studio that you have there that we can look at?
Well, I just came back a few months ago from a great trip to Wyoming, Jackson Hole, Wyoming,
Okay.
and I went to Yellowstone because buffalo was on my mind for a long time. And of course, I could take picture. I could just base my work on some video, but I just didn't want to sculpt a buffalo until I see a bunch of it. And it's an American icon. So
It certainly is.
so I came back and let me see if I can show you this buffalo that I.
Oh my gosh, that is incredible. That is so majestic.
So on this piece, I was able to do this piece in stainless steel. I did another version of this in black patina, but that was based on the last trip in Wyoming.
You really captured that. And I love the stainless steel. It really brings out all of the detail and then just gives it such a majesty. And those are American icon, but for Native people, they're a very spiritual animal as well. I mean, they really represent to a lot of Native communities, not necessarily my tribe because we didn't have buffalo, but a lot of the tribes, that was the animal that really symbolized their ability to prosper and stay alive. And there was a lot of very spiritual qualities that were given to them because they were such great providers in every sense of the way, from how
And
they
they
would
were,
be on
and
the pasture,
also,
everything.
they also were endangered species. They almost
I
disappeared.
know.
So, that it's good that it's great that some people start raising them, and you can still see wild buffalo in Jackson in the park, the Yellowstone. So,
It
I
is
think what
great that they're
I think what I
bringing
would
them
love
back,
to
the
do
whole species.
I think what I would love to do is actually spend time with wild horses now. So find a place where they're still alive and they're still running free, and spend a week there with my camera and photograph them and sculpt one, because I can take picture of horses in every in a lot of places, especially in Burbank
Right.
or any ranch, but capture their wilderness or their beauty, watching them running free. That's what I'm
Yes.
interested about.
And
And
when they've never been in
so and you
captivity, when yes, I agree.
so and you
That's a
you know
great. So go ahead, Victor.
so you know better than me, since you have a background of in American Indian. you know how much horses were important for them, and you know, Buffalo Indian horses was all the same culture of American Indian, and that's I would love to be able to spend time with wild horses.
I think that that's another genre too of, people really, horses and people have had such a connection, and before the cars came, that was how everything worked, whether you were working a farm, a ranch, or whether you were traveling, they were part of the most important part of transportation. So I think that people have always had that connection. And I'd love to see you do sculptures of horses. So of your genre of animals, besides the sharks, what other animals have you created? Because I know you did the rhino too. I remember
Yeah,
seeing rhino.
I did rhino coming back from Kenya a long time ago. I did hippo. I did elephant on my last trip, coming back from my last trip from South Africa. I did a tiger. Um, I did a gorilla a long time ago, but a full-size gorilla.
Okay.
What did I? Trying to see what else I did. Humpback whale. I did sperm whale. I did so many animals. I just frog.
So quite a bit of different species in the last, how many years have you been sculpting now?
I think it's probably about 12 to between 12 and 14 years, I think now, you know.
Right.
And now I can really do this full time and spend the time I want on it. And it's not about the quantity anymore. I think at the beginning I was craving to create. So I was going from one piece after the other. Sometimes I was doing like 6 or 7 different pieces a year, and that's a lot for a sculptor.
Yes,
Now I'm
especially
more,
because of the foundry and the whole thing. A lot of people don't know how much work goes in besides what you're doing, sculpting in clay or wax. Then taking it to a foundry is a whole nother portion of bringing these creations to life.
especially as you can see, even when it's on this gorilla, even when it's cast, I, I have to take it back and I have to redetail it. I have to make sure I'm satisfied with this. I put my name on the piece and I want to be proud of it. I have to look at it and I have to make sure everything is the way that I sculpted. You know, sometimes foundry have tendency to go a little fast to finish. I can allow this. So
Right.
I don't like to give a time frame when you're gonna get your piece, but when you get it, this is maybe not the best piece in the world, but that's important. But yeah, there's a lot of things that a lot of stage that people don't understand from the clay to the final product.
Right.
And you are the gallery owner. Do you know the process? And it's great to have somebody who's involved like you who can explain the process, the step to make the piece. And so
Right.
people, when people have a chance to understand how much work and money it costs to create a piece, I think it's a little bit easier for them to understand why it's pricey sometimes.
Well, and that's why there's more painters than sculptors, because with painting, you get a canvas, you buy your oil paint, which is expensive, but you can do it as you want. When you do a sculpture, you're all in. The price, whether you cast one or you cast 10, are very close, and it's very expensive.
Yeah.
So you got to really have a commitment as a sculptor to the entire process, because it's not just as simple as creating clay and then it's done. That's
No,
just the beginning.
I don't know how many times more than canvas and painting. I'm not devaluating the work of the
Not at
painter
all.
because it's but financially it is costing way more money, and you don't even know if you're going to sell it.
That's true.
I have pieces that I never sold one of the whole edition, and I don't know if you remember, somebody came to the gallery a while ago in Beverly Hills, and I had those three hippos swimming in a river, swimming,
Right.
and somebody came to your gallery in Beverly Hills, and this is a piece that I didn't sell a lot of them, and somebody just saw it and said, that's the one I wanted. So you never know. You never
Right.
know what's going to sell, do what you love, put all your passion, and it will sell. There's somebody somewhere who wants it.
That's a really good, for those artists watching, that's a really good word from Victor, having poured his whole life into this. So besides, your passion for the animals and, the fact that you're just an incredible artist, when you are creating yourself, Victor, how does that affect you as a person? You've chosen to be an artist, you're pouring out. When you're sculpting, where does that transport you as an artist, your own experience with actually creating?
Well, I have to get involved with the animal. I have to learn. I have to understand the animal. I have to watch video. I have to sometimes wake up in the middle of the night because I don't like the way I sculpt the eyes of the animal. So it's just nonstop. It's obsessing a little bit, and it's hard to have a girlfriend when you're so obsessed about when you talk about the piece you're making all the time, and
Right.
um, it's a passion. You take it or leave it. That's what I do. I'm gonna obsess about it. I'm gonna look for detail. I'm gonna do as much research as I can, even if I have to drive somewhere to
Right.
go and the process of sculpting a piece for me, it's not just clay. It's all about learning. See how many of those disappearing, how many are left, why are they disappearing, what can I do? It's the time that I sculpt this piece, I'm very involved, and I'm done, and I put the piece on the display, and it's there, and I'm jumping
Right.
on the project. So when people ask me what is your favorite piece, I don't have a favorite piece. The favorite piece is the one I'm doing right now. That's the one I
Right.
put my heart and soul. That's the one I'm doing. That's the one I know everything about them, and uh, that's a piece that's my favorite piece. The one I'm making
Well,
right
you have
right
the
there.
true you have the true heart of an artist. And when people looked at your work when we had it in Beverly Hills, they would just stop. And you're right, there was an energy. You made those animals come to life. And that is what brings the awareness to the viewer, is that they're looking at this, and then there's a dialogue that happens because you're bringing that dialogue in. You're talking about these animals going almost to extinction, and some of them have. I think the white rhino, I think it's gone now.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
aren't
it is.
anymore.
It is
And so
gone.
I think what you're doing is important on many different levels. It's important on the artistic level because of your passion just as an artist. I mean, even if you weren't spreading awareness, your artwork just is amazing. But then you're taking that and using that as a platform to share the importance of making sure that we take care of the world and the animals and the environment, which is really what your legacy will be, I think.
Well, it's those animals disappearing, unfortunately. So if I can stop, save one, save two, m- make people think about for a minute, I did my part.
I think so. And I think that, every artist that I have encountered that really has taken art to that level, like you have, and has that passion and has the obsession to create something that's important. I think it always goes back to that backstory, like you were sharing with me, I think the other day. And I had heard we had talked about this before, about this motorcycle accident that you were
Yeah.
in and almost took your life. And pushing through that, I think that there's some reflection that I see in your work for the passion of overcoming obstacle. Because really what you're saying with your artwork is, take a look at this beautiful creature and do your part to make sure that it stays here. And that's a huge obstacle that we have as human beings, and
Well,
you're being part of that. And I think it's because you've overcome a lot.
yeah, I did. Unfortunately, it's not finished. As you know,
Right.
I'm still dealing with some health issue. But yeah, it's a fight. It's everyday fight. It could be my life or it could be animal. We
Right.
don't have to we don't have to fight like the animal fight. The
Right.
animal have to deal with poacher, with it's already hard enough to live in the wilderness, having people taking your habitat to plant uh, agriculture and poaching coming and kill your baby, and it's hard enough to deal with all this. So life life is a fight, you know.
It is,
Ev-
but you're a fighter and you are using that energy into your artwork. And that's what I'm seeing, all these layers, and you pull it together. And then that's why you create such an amazing energy within that animal. It's not just a sculpture of an animal, they're alive. And that's because of you. And I think that's what I wanted to show the viewer today.
Thank you. Well, you want to make sure your daughter and her son are going to be able to see those animals, not only in magazine or video, but still be able to fly somewhere or drive somewhere and see wild horses, elephant walking, rhino, shark in the water. You want to be able to see and share with, you know, your next generation what we saw. And also some of the species that we saw are already gone, unfortunately. So let's
No,
let's let's
it's true.
preserve whatever's left.
I agree with that. Do you have any of your sharks there that we could look at?
Oh yeah, I have plenty of shark here. So
Let's take a look, folks. I'm going to minimize my screen so you folks can see.
I don't know if there is
Look at
enough.
those.
I don't know if you have enough light to see it.
Yes, we can. And especially if you kind of stop in front of one and we can zoom in on it, then we can see
See
it.
if I can do a little bit of.
You got it. The sharks, my friends that are watching, will take your breath away. They're just so beautiful. I don't know if you would get me to swim with them, but this is
Well,
this
you're missing out.
Oh wow. And that stainless, I don't see very many artists working in stainless, but the way that you have incorporated that into your artwork, it really is very, I guess, you're bringing it into a modern type of look rather than the traditional bronze, which I really like.
Well, that's a beauty. And put it any houses and it would fit, because the stainless steel reflects the color of the room, or it's very modern. It's the same time, you can definitely put stainless steel anywhere.
Right. But I just love how you have incorporated it with the smooth way of creating the sculpture itself. Look at that. That is stunning. And then you have used some traditional patinas as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's this one is a traditional patina.
Right. Which I really like. I like them all. They're just great.
So it's I like to be able to do both. Stainless steel, not too many artists like to do stainless steel because it's very hard to polish,
Yes.
very hard to weld, and very hard to work on, period.
And it's unforgiving. I mean, it shows every single flaw. So
Yeah,
when you are doing the sculpture and the chasing, it's got to be 100% on or it doesn't work.
yeah, absolutely. You cannot make a mistake on stainless steel.
No,
So you
it
have to
just
put
shows.
the time, and it has to be perfect.
Well, that's
Patina, you
why
can
we have
always,
you, Victor.
yeah, it's
You're
a
a
lot of work.
perfectionist.
Yeah, I am. I am. I am. And I
Well,
think,
besides the wild horses, what's on the horizon? What other things can we look forward to seeing you sculpt?
well, I would love to go back to Yellowstone again and spend some time with grizzly bear.
Oh, that'd be good.
grizzly bear, wolf has been on my list. I spent a lot of time at the big bear sanctuary with some wolf, but I didn't feel it. So
Okay.
this American Indian owned this sanctuary in Big Bear, and she allowed me to spend time with the wolf. But even after a few hours with the wolf, I just didn't feel like I connect with any of those animals yet. So
Okay.
it's hard for me to decide or kind of pick and choose what animal is going to be next. I think they choose me.
I
So
think they do too.
I started bee a while ago, and it's not finished yet. You know, I don't have to go big gorilla, big shark. Bee, a little bee, honeybee. It's great. So I
That is,
started. So I would love to finish a little bee.
I'd love to see that. That would
Yeah.
be really great. I'm always
So
saving those guys. Everybody thinks I'm nuts, but
well,
you know,
that's you know what they say. The bee disappear. We will disappear. That's what they say.
that's, it is, and that is true. Hopefully that doesn't happen, and we can all come to our senses and do our part the best way. And you're certainly doing yours
Thank you.
by
So it's not about all big animal all the time. It's not about all big animal. Bees, very important for the ecosystem. We need
yes,
them.
they are.
So I think
Well,
that's the
my
next one.
friend, I'm so happy to have you on, and I'm hoping that we can follow you and see all of your new works. Folks, go to Victor's website. We have it streaming here on the feed there. You can look up his work so you can see all of the different ones that he has there. And right now, Victor, you're pretty much, if somebody's interested in your art, they can contact you directly,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Absolutely.
And are you still in the same place with that gorgeous studio in the back?
Yes, I am. I am. That's where I spend most of my time.
I
Right
love
in the
that.
back, right in the back, sculpting, chasing, making making me happy, actually. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful spot, and the light that comes in. So folks, if you're interested, contact Victor through his website. You can also follow him on Instagram and on Facebook. And if there's something you're interested in, just reach out to him. He's not very far away from where we are. He's in LA, and you can set up an appointment and go see his work. And I think it's so important what you're doing, Victor. It's so important to have this awareness for these creatures that are on this planet that are equally as important as we are as human beings. And
Well, if I can add something, sorry to cut you. I
please,
wanna
no.
first thank you for the opportunity you give me to work with me when I was still starting. I went to your gallery in Beverly Hills at the time. Vanessa was working there, and she get in touch with you, and you went all the way to my house to see what I was all about and what I was doing, and you give me a shot, and
Well, it was
we
my
sold a few
pleasure.
pieces. We
I
sold a
wish
few
we would have,
pieces.
yeah, I wish we would have been able to continue on, but hey, it's not too late. We're in San Diego, so we can
Yeah,
always do a show here.
I appreciate as an artist
So,
gallery and
it's been great.
get a shot from somebody like you who's has got a lot of experience with art. So thank you again.
Well, there's always like you say, everything is an energy and a connection. We had all those galleries, and now we've come down to this one, and that's life. Things change and shift. But the one thing that I've always connected with people like you is that passion for the arts. And so, you are one of those artists that you don't do this for the reason to make money. It's
No,
nice if you do, and it's nice if people support it, but you're going to do it anyway. And that's how I felt as a gallerist for the last 30 years is that I always say, if I just wanted to have a business, I probably should have chosen something else, but this is not a business. This is a passion. And so I just want to continue to bring artists like yourself to the awareness of the public because we are creating history, and this history is going to push forward to the next generation. And when you're not here, I'm not here, all the viewers on, watching, our generation has passed, the art will remain and it'll tell the story of what was important. And in your case, it's a super important story. And that is that we're not alone here as human beings. We are sharing the planet with a lot of other important creatures, including, you know, the trees and everything else. But I
Yeah,
love the way that you bring that, you know, forward, Victor. It's great.
I'm doing my part, you're doing your part.
That's it. Well, folks, follow Victor, go on to his website, support the arts, and we'll look forward to seeing you again. When you finish that next piece, I'm going to have you back on the show.
Absolutely, it was my pleasure.
All right, Victor. Have a great day. You're a blessing to all of us.
Thank you very
And
much for
we'll look
having
forward to
me.
seeing you again.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I love Victor Douieb's work, and I highly recommend going to his website and taking a look. You have to, you know, it's one of those things, you're going to see it on the website and you're going to be blown away. But if you get a chance to see his work in person, it'll take your breath away. He's really taken every detail to the next level on these animals. And, you know, he's just one of those people that you want to support because he comes from the space of just true passion. So I hope you enjoyed watching him, and I hope you get to see more of his work. And we are going to be back here on Wednesday, 1 p.m., live streaming with another sculptor out of New York, another person I've known for a long time, Steve Zalewski. And Steve does large monument pieces, so very different than any of the other sculptors we've had. He's more of a modernist, so he brings in a little bit more of a modern style. Really fun. He's also going to play his harmonica for us. He's kind of a character, so that'll be a lot of fun, and I'll see you on Wednesday. And then we will not be having a show Friday because we're going to shift our format since now we're open, people are coming in. I know you folks, a lot of you are going back to work, so you can't do the 1 p.m. We're going to shift it to Wednesdays at 4 p.m. On Wednesdays, so that people on the East Coast can also watch, because I've had people say, please push it out a little bit. And of course we tape it and it's on YouTube. So just mark your calendars on that. It's been really great to have all the artists on. One of the things that the shutdown has afforded is the ability for me to go back, look through my Rolodex, and reconnect with all these artists and bring them to you folks. So I hope you've enjoyed it. And make sure you continue to share. If you don't mind, if you haven't already, go onto our YouTube platform. It's Art of the City TV. Please subscribe and share that. We're trying to build a nice platform. And if some of you are my personal friends, you follow me on Facebook, you're seeing all these glam shots and all of this and probably going, what is she doing? Well, what I'm doing is I'm trying to create a platform so that I can bring this onto a national level, either through maybe a Netflix or a bigger platform, to bring art to the awareness of folks that, unlike you, who appreciate art, there's many people out there who haven't had the opportunity to really be exposed to art. And some of them don't even know if maybe they like it or they don't. So what I've been doing is going into cities, and I started this live interview, but in a little bit more of a professional realm, with a camera crew, going in and capturing the life stories of some of the most important artists that are living in a city. So far, I did the 4 episodes here in San Diego, 4 in Santa Fe, and 5 in New Orleans. So the Santa Fe and New Orleans have not been released yet, but they will be soon. So the more you can share with people, the better it will be for all of us in the arts. I really want to see us share the love of art with as many people as we can, because it's healing and art is important. And so that's my passion. So please help me out with that. And I'll see you Wednesday at 1 p.m. right here, live streaming Art of the City TV. Have a great day, folks.